All right, so since menus had come up, I just wanted to make it a little bit easier to access menus. One thing I didn't want to do is lock you into a specific type of menu. I know with Livecanvas, when you activate the header and footer option, it automatically assigns it to the slug header and footer, which I've run into issues with in the past. Um, that still stays the same because I don't want to deviate away from what Picostrap does. But in this particular case, I didn't want to lock you into like the primary menu or had to be primary as the name. So I wanted to make it callable instead of like a default. This also helps to reduce the weight that the context carries around the website, increasing performance on the server side, things like that. So real quick, I wanted to kind of dive into it, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a couple of different features. And the first one is around the data inspector. So right here, I've opened the data inspector, and I have this, going to open up this code over here, and we're just going to ignore all this at the moment. And I'm just going to go in here, and I'm just going to try to make sure everything is working right. So something. And you can see right here, the inspector now updates based on the state context. So if you declare a variable named state and you pass it anything, it will show that specific data. Normally, like for example, if you don't declare anything, or if I just, let me go back to the top here. I'm just going to clear this out. This is the state context tree. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. Essentially, this is all the underlying data available to you inside WordPress. Specifically, like what this is showing you right now is what's available to you inside the editor. So one of the ways that you can kind of see this in action is like if I put post.title, it says hello world, and that could be because I have populated content as hello world. I can also like go right here and see exactly what post it's pulling from, and I can see it's pulling from the current hello world post, and that's probably because I have dynamic data populated, which I do. It's assigned to hello world. If I clear this out, which I'll just do right now, you can go in here and you can see that the post has now changed, specifically on here. So let's go up here and go to the section. Actually, I'll just go to LC main, and that's where the post.title is. If I go into the post now, you'll see that this is now different. It's now assigned to the actual header that I'm editing at the moment, allowing you to see the context of the template, which populating content so you can see like a different template other than the one you're working on in the actual state data. But just to help you guys kind of wrap your head around what this all is you can go in here and pull essentially any data. Any data can be added to this or pulled from this. So adding to it requires actual development work, but pulling from it is just templating work. So right here, I'm in the site object, which this is available to you inside of the backend of WordPress. So you go to admin settings general. For example, the name of the site is right here. So like my theme name is the name of the site at the moment. If I change this over here, I'm just going to go ahead and set state equals site. Now I'm only seeing specific objects inside of here that are for the site object. So I can see like, oh, here's my site.name. So if I wanted to test this, for example, I can just type site.name here and it will show me just that variable. But this also works for any data that you call in. So for example, let's say you have some function from a plugin, advanced custom fields, WooCommerce, whatever it might be, and you want to preview what the data looks like so you know what to use inside your template. You could actually just put in the function here and it will actually show you what that data looks like from an observability standpoint. So just to kind of clear this up, going into this point right here around the menus. So if you were actually type in menu, right here it's going to say null because I don't have any menus set. So I'm going to fix that real quick. So first I'm going to take this out. Let me go back to the top. And I'm going to clear that out. I'm going to hit save. And I'm just going to pop over here and create a menu. So traditional WordPress menu, I'm just going to call it primary. Create the menu. I'm just going to add the home template to it and save it. I'm now just going to go back into my header template and just open this right up. And from here, I'm going to open the code. Open the inspector, and we're back to where we were. So I'm just going to go to this top part here, and I'm going to go ahead and put this back in, just so I have a little call to it. And I'm just going to put primary in here. And you can see immediately the primary menu starts to render. So this is all the data that's available to WordPress when it calls for a menu. Now, we're using something called Timber under the hood, so it does give you a little bit of extra things that are specifically made for templating within HTML. Makes it much easier to write the code inside the template. So right here, we just simple function called menu, and we're already here, and you can see that the items, which that's what the home is one of the items inside of here. So if I were to go in here, and let's say I don't want to preview this in state, but I actually want to use this, I could actually just go in here and just do for item in menu primary items. And just like this, I now have a loop. And what I want to do is go ahead and check. Once again, I don't know the actual data for this, so let's go into the state, and I'm going to type in menu primary, just so I can check myself. All right, and I'm going to look at the items. Automatically, I can see I have, all right, menu primary items. And I can go down in here, and I can start to look at what can I pull from this. Let's see. I want the title. I want cup. Let's just do the title for now. So right here, I'm just going to type in item net title. And you'll see it right at the top of the page. Home is now displayed right here. If it looks a little bit small for you, I'll just go ahead and wrap it in a P just to keep things simple. 7XL. There we go. We have the home menu item. If I wanted to change this over into an ID, I could change it in, and it essentially showing you the home page's ID of 47. Post type or whatever it is that you want here. You could do really whatever you wanted to inside of this specific item. So for right now, I'll just leave it as home. Now, if you don't want to write the syntax like this, similar to other previous videos I've made, you can also just declare a variable. So if I wanted to declare, for example, set primary menu, that's just easier for you to remember in the long run. You can just do it like that. Change this out. Now I have a primary menu. So this would be useful in situations where, for example, you had some type of logic where you want to show a specific menu based on the page. You could have a if-else statement, declaring which one is the primary menu at a specific time. You could do a lot of things around it. It's really however you want. I just wanted to make calling in the menu simpler so you don't have to write out the full function. And this would work for even if you want to call multiple menus. You could just sit here and set all your individual menus as variables and then essentially loop over them as you need them. You can use them within the whole page. So it's not locked into just this one component. You can use it wherever. So to kind of show you this feature in action, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the state data and close the inspector. And we'll close this out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here and select these items. So I'm just going to delete my original loop. And let's see. I'm also going to delete this for a minute. So let's show off creating a component real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and create a Tailwind header. That's my component. All right. And right here, we're just going to type in Tailwind header. And now we have the header back. And we're good to go. And actually, what we should have done before doing that is we should open this up. Open up here. And what we want to do is, instead of having 3 individual links, we're just going to dynamically create one link. So let's see. Just going to delete this out. And from here, we can just go over to the start. And if it looks weird on your screen, I apologize. The recording icon is in my way. So I'm just going to type right here for item in primary menu, M4. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this out to item.title. And we're going to change this out to item.link. And just like that, we have a dynamic menu. Now, nothing is populating because primary menu has no variable set to it. If I go back to the top where I originally was, you can see I deleted all that out. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and save this. So I'm going to go ahead and call this dynamic Tailwind component or header. And I'm going to delete it out. That way I don't have to look at the code. And that's really the goal here, is that when you're keeping, creating components and replacing them, you're just keeping everything clean within the view that you're managing, so that you have one spot to edit everything. So right here, I'll just type in dynamic Tailwind header, and just like that, it's back. And from here, I can actually just go in and declare, let's see, set primary menu equals menu primary. And we don't want to forget it's only for the items. So like that, we now have a primary menu with items. And we're good to go. It would be helpful if I could see what I am doing. So I'm going to move some windows around. Right here. And items. There we go. Now the home is popped up here and we are good to go as far as that goes. And one thing I was thinking about doing is adding autocompletes just for completing this phrase, so you guys don't have to remember this as well. I probably will add that in this update as well, but for now you can kind of see, like, real simple. I can have multiple headers here. For example, I can have like an if-else statement. So like if I wanted to do like a different primary menu based on different things, I can do that here just by doing if, some logic here. And then, go ahead and do like your else if logic here, etc. You can just kind of keep this going. And if you don't know Twig intimately enough to do this, and you know how to explain it though, GPT could easily write this out for you. So that's one of the big pluses around the system, is GPT knows exactly what you're doing. And pretty quickly, we just put together this header as a component, made it reusable. And now we can edit this component from one spot and never have to worry about reusing it. Not that we would have the same editor using it in multiple places, but you can see where this would be useful for a component like a card, testimonial cards, or whatever it might be that you want to reuse throughout your site multiple times, pass in dynamic data or dynamic menus down to those specific components, giving you a single source of truth. So pretty cool. Love to hear your feedback. Let me know if there's something you'd like me to do to make it a little bit easier for you. But overall, feedback is the most important part. So I'll see you soon.